All right, guys, here we're going to talk about the movie Devour. Had you seen Devour before we watched it?
You suggested this, and very quickly I realized, is this the guy from Supernatural?
It is.
Which I have never, yeah, well, I later confirmed
Jensen
that,
Ackles, I think is his name.
somebody on IMDb. So I then confirmed it, but I'm not a Supernatural dude. I haven't really seen Supernaturals, except I'll like be in the room when it's on, and someone else is on episode 9 of season 17 or whatever it is on right now. So that I've never heard of this movie before. I did not know that it existed, and I was shocked that the Supernatural guy's in it. But it's never come up in any circumstances.
So this is an older movie, and older in quotes. It's 2005.
The golden age.
This is pre-Supernatural, pre-My Bloody Valentine, like.
My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Is he in that as well?
Yes, he's the main character of that one.
I don't know this dude.
So I was like, I had never heard of this movie, and I was like, what is this? I was at the thrift shop and I saw it for $2, and I was like, all right, well, I'm getting this because what is this? And do
you think that it was buried by his team?
Well, it was a direct-to-video movie, so it wasn't theatrically released.
Oh, okay.
So that explains a little bit more as to why I didn't see it. And the video store we worked at didn't carry this movie, so had just never seen it.
That's going to recontextualize some of my stuff. So just like the quick version, like I did not like this movie. I don't know how
No,
you
it was
felt about
not
this
good.
movie. Good, okay. So I think we can start on that.
It had a lot of elements
footing.
and people that I thought could have been used really well.
It was interesting.
But it didn't so the premise of the movie is a group of kind of troubled 20-somethings get into a game. It turns out that game is run by the devil, and it like makes you do the things your inner mind or whatever is thinking about, but would never actually act upon.
It's called The Pathway. It's kind of like the game from the game, where you sign up and then you wish you hadn't, and you can't cancel, and you start getting phone calls about doing weird stuff or plotting stuff for you or whatever. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. So like the characters in this movie, like it's two guys, two girls are your general
yes,
your general plot here. It's three like childhood friends, and I thought like the girl Dakota from his childhood friend, I was like she's good, and she seems like someone who's been in something, and I think it's that she has the vibe of a Kirsten Dunst, but but not the career of her.
Let me take a minute here.
Sure.
That is Dominique Swain.
She
was in Lolita with Jeremy Irons, which is awesome. I love her. I haven't seen her in too much stuff, and if you're watching this, I apologize in advance because this is not a compliment, but it's in my head it is. She's kind of gross, but in a way that I find incredibly attractive.
All right.
And yeah, it's, kind of in that Kirsten Dunst area of like.
Yeah, I briefly like scrubbed through her IMDb, definitely. and I was trying to think of what is the one that I know her from, and I couldn't find that one.
She's actually, so I did the same thing really quick, but I didn't foresee giving this passionate speech here about Dominique Swain, but she's been in like a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of stuff in like pre-production, so I was just like, okay, I don't know, whatever. I guess this is on me, because I was gonna say I wish she was in more things, because I actually think that she was pretty good in this. And it turns out she's in more things. I just don't watch those things.
Yes. Then he has his other childhood friend, and I didn't look up that guy on IMDb at all. But
his name is like Treat something or Teach something.
He has the look where I'm like, he should have been like Rorschach, like from The Watchmen. He has this like look where I'm like, you're like a really creepy dude, and I don't know how much of that's him putting it on for this movie, or what his
creepy.
life is like. but I was like, he was like. I don't even know if he was correctly cast because of how creepy he was. I get he played a disturbed character, so that's right. But just how quickly he like angers and goes and does things, I was like, this is a really weird character to be your best friend.
Extremely weird. Even from like the first thing where
he pulls a gun out like in the middle of nowhere, like I'm gonna get you, boy. Like what?
Okay.
You have a detailed note coming.
Ginger Stoner has gun and boner. This is what's important. He's like eyeballing the like football player dude's girlfriend, all weird and stuff, and he's like, it basically, okay, real quick, intro credits, bad song, In the Woods. Is this a Bigfoot movie? Is this the guy from Supernatural? Ginger Stoner has a gun and a boner. That's like the flow of like the introduction of the movie. You are thrust into this thing where you're meeting like after some weird vision, I'm in the woods killing an animal part.
Yeah.
You're thrust into this like, oh, he's a kid, I guess, and they're in school, and he has a friend who's like a half ginger, looks like the clown from It guy or something like that. And then he's like staring at some chick and pulling out a gun. He's like, whoa, cool it, man. Like, what is happening?
Like in the middle of a campus, full full of like people within 4 feet of him.
Like in the morning when you're
Yeah.
putting your backpacks and you're hanging out, like it's a whole thing.
Very, very weird. And the movie itself has an issue with a lot of like it thinks it's better than it is. It comes across as to me, where it's a lot of in-depth flashbacks that are actually sequences that are happening to him, and he thinks they're dreams, but he's envisioning things that happen to his family or will happen to his friends. And like it has some nice effects on like the devilly makeups and this and that, but they're used so sparingly and not in a way you would think. So if the movie was less a mental horror and more of a physical horror, I think they could have done something pretty interesting there, because they had some cool.
They didn't try fitting all that stuff in.
Yeah, they really tried to be a higher brow movie than I think they had the chops to pull off.
I would agree. Let me continue my notes.
Sure.
Hot girlfriend. It's his birthday. Throws gun away. Works at computer repair shop. Wax from tarot cards. And then marked line. This movie is devouring my soul. It's only been 12 minutes.
I did have a moment where I looked up like, all right, we must be near, and I was like, there's an hour left. All right.
I know.
The girl with the tarot cards comes in, so like she's famous. What's her name?
Sasiana Rossellino.
So like I've liked her in things like what is she in? She's in the Knight's Tale.
I was just gonna say
she's in that one where Jessica Biel gets punched in the face by James Vanderbeek. What the hell's that one called? Rules of Attraction.
Nice.
So like I've seen her in things, and I'm like, nah, she's good. Like like standard actress, attractive, nice smile, whatever. And then like she opens, and her lines are so bad in that tarot card bullshit with them. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, are you a terrible actress?
I thought there'd be little guys. So like this.
And I think a more throaty actress, like they would have delivered that as like a joke, like
okay, throaty,
because she did it like a little girl. I thought there were little men in there. I was like, I thought there were little I
thought there were little men inside running around doing my stuff.
No, like
I understand what you mean.
Like the character,
a sultry, smoky, interesting.
Yeah.
Like, what is this girl? Is this chick coming on to me? Like, what's going on? Like that, not like
if you would have been
flirting.
delivering it as a thing where you're like, I'm saying this sarcastically, not I'm saying it like a bubbly idiot. Yes. I think it would have been a decent line. But I was like, oh man, what's happening? And she ended up coming around for me a little bit, where I was like, okay, you're much better in later scenes than you are now. But the plot would not allow me to continue to like this person.
No, but this movie like destroyed every actor and actress like in it. Basically,
more or less.
This did what like the Phantom Menace did to like Hayden Christensen and what's her name and what's his name, where like even the best and most talented people can barely punch back up to like 0 on like the good acting meter, because like a bunch of like the main Supernatural dude, I remember looking at him being like, is this what Supernatural is? He's horrible or something like that.
He has a different voice entirely in that show.
Oh my God.
And I don't know what his real. I don't think I've ever heard him just talk in an interview or whatever. He could be British for all I know. I don't think he is. But in Supernatural, he has like a gruff voice, and he's like the tough guy. And in this, he's like the weenie.
So in this, like I thought he was good at what I will call emoting. Like he was half crying, and then when she caught him, crying, he like laughs kind of weird, like and does all this good, good work. But he would deliver lines in this weird way where he's like staring at the people and talking at them, right? And he'd be like, what are we doing with this weird, like intensity or something? Like, I don't like this.
I think, for me, he's just, like, a really perfect choice for his character in Supernatural, because in, like, I've only really seen him in this, My Bloody Valentine, and I think that, and then Supernatural, and Smallville. But in like My Bloody Valentine, I'm like, oh my god, he's such a whiny bitch the whole movie, and I don't know if that's him acting like he's like, I made a choice and I'm playing this as a whiny bitch, or like like what. But in Supernatural, I like his character, and everything else, I'm like, God, man, come on, dude, you're better than this.
Wow, interesting.
But also, he was the youngest, like he's the oldest, of course, in Supernatural. Like he could have just gotten better as time went on. I don't know. I've not seen him in a movie since Supernatural came out.
And this, so like Supernatural starts the same year this movie came out. So he went off and like went and did Supernatural. So he might have in like the early Supernatural days, maybe as like a pivot from this, where it's like that movie tanked. I gotta do a different. I'm gonna do a character.
Actually, you know what? My Bloody Valentine came out after this, so I guess he is just a weird choice of acting.
Was he? So in My Bloody Valentine, he was more like this. You're saying?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Whinier than this, actually.
Whinier. Well, you have to try to be whiny, I think.
Yeah.
You can't just do it. All right. But so yeah, I was afraid you were gonna say, "Oh no, he was great in this.
No.
This is his thing."
Watch
watch Supernatural for hundreds of hours.
There was
of
not much
this.
of greatness in this movie at all.
No.
I did not care for the song in the opening credits, but I liked the credit montage and how like the weird sliders and things happen. I was like, that's pretty cool.
I'm glad you went back to that. So like when I turned this on, and I often do this. I try to like make up my mind before I check IMDb. So I checked IMDb like 38 minutes into the movie.
Okay.
Right, because I'm watching it. So like as it's coming up, like I don't even know what year it is unless that's in like the name of like the file or like whatever. So I'm just watching like, what is this? Is this fake Linkin Park? Like what's happening here?
It's like
these
butt
are cool
rock
titles.
alternative
Yes.
crap, and I'm like, what
It's
is
all
this?
weird.
It's just free music that you found.
But I did like the visuals, and I did like some of the stuff, and I should just get this out of the way before I forget. Like it was like there's like crane shots and dolly shots and like focus racks or like soft shots. Like this is like mechanically like done like well, but like the acting and the writing and like the editing and all these weird things are like a TV show would have, right? So so now that you say this went straight to video, I'm kind of like, oh, like I can't really attack it as much for that because it does kind of feel like the editing, like a character would be like leaning on something and talking, then it would cut to the other character, then it would cut back and they just wouldn't be leaning on it anymore, and then it would cut back and they would be leaning again. Like it was just really like it was extreme, like, and I try not to notice that stuff or go out of my way to notice it, but it happens so many times that I was just like, what is happening? Like, why? Like, we're cutting back and forth between like different takes that don't mash up together.
I have a big issue with any movies involving like demons and like fate and bullshit because they're
that's a lot of movies.
And this is my big issue is that when it feels like an unwinnable fight. And I'm like, and this is like the definition of the unwinnable fight, where I'm like, all right, nothing mattered. You couldn't prevent anything. Your allies were actually your enemies. In the end, like you just lost, and it just ends. And you can take it in. I guess there's an interpretation here at the end where you could go, oh no, I think he was just a crazy person the whole time. And it's like, but if that were true, how did his friends die? And like
he killed them.
But
I took so many notes on this. What's wrong with me?
The idea, so the ending of this movie is the love interest girl from A Knight's Tale, the one that works at a hospital with his mother, is actually
the one who, the minute she showed up and it was, it's Wax from tarot cards, I'm like, she's in on it, she works for like the pathway and whatever, it's happening, whatever, right? But they managed to make her in on it in a way that makes like such a weird.
I figured when they first introduced her, she'll help
them.
I thought that he was gonna bump back into her like, tarot cards, you could tell me about the devil, right? Like some really stupid connection.
Draw a circle on the ground. We have to protect ourselves.
Yeah. But in actuality, it turns out that she is his mother from years earlier that has changed her form to get close to him.
To fuck him.
And has sex with him at one point in time. And then says like, well, I drink this blood. I can stay. I was like, will you stay with me in any form you want? And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, the devil gets
such
down.
Such a weird fucking thing.
The ending.
But like she is the devil? Like what are you to believe? Is she just a demon in service of the devil?
I'm glad that you are, and I'll be charitable here and say confused about this.
Sure.
Because I was confused about this. I wrote down the entire ending monologue. I'm not going to perform it now because I'm chickening out, but I was going to. At one point it says the devil couldn't kill our child? Is that what he says? Because whether it's our child or her child, I don't understand that line. I watched it twice to try to find out what this line was. Because the first time I heard it, I'm like, wait, what is the because this is like ending your movie with a bunch of voiceover to act like that's only Rod Serling is capable of doing this. You can't just record voiceover over like a shot of like the main character getting whisked away in like a cop car and act like that's your ending. That's like horrible.
No, it was a very piss poor ending that left me super disappointed.
Yeah, because like you needed one more shot in like the insane asylum or the hospital or something. Like you have to do something. Something, right? You have to have something happen. Not like a lot of stuff, but just like anything. You can't just voice it over and act like that counts. But what he says is, this is the punishment. Now I'm framed because I wouldn't go with them. But all she wanted you to do was drink the blood, and she like fed it to you. So like, didn't that do the thing that needed to happen?
Because he stabbed her, I guess. She said, "Fuck it," because he had an option of either coming with her or going back to your normal life. And this is his normal life now. She managed to pervert and ruin his normal life. There's so many things that I just wanted more explanation about.
But the stay with her option was you just have to drink the blood to do that. But she fed him the blood anyway. So what does the blood do? If
I think that was just to fuck with him. I don't know.
I don't know.
The thing I would like to know, so earlier on, the father says, "We sacrificed so much for you," and he's like, "What did you sacrifice?" And then like later on, you find out that they actually came into a closet or whatever that was a demon was giving birth to a child, and they snatched it and ran. Yep. And you see his mother. By the way, the father is actually his father in real life.
What?
Yeah, I saw that.
Is he an actor?
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, I don't know.
But you see the mother fall. And then the father snatches up and they run again. And I would like them to address that that's where she got into the wheelchair, like she fell like in that part. But none of that makes sense because then it was like there's no one home to take care of you. There would have been no one home to take care of her ever because the dad would have had to work and there would have been a baby. So like how did she eventually end up in this thing? Without her there at home to keep him from fighting, like what do you mean? Like,
no, and you have
what?
And you have to have established better when he tells the story. Well, the three of us were in a car. It was a miracle that any of us survived, or whatever. Mm-hmm. My dad hit a thing, or something like that. He would have had to have survived. Clarified that happened when he was so young.
Yeah, he was a toddler, a baby.
That like he doesn't remember it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, there's a bunch of stuff like that where if you go back and you're like, well, wait, why did you have him say that then? Because that doesn't make sense. Just have him say something else. What's happening, right?
Yeah.
Very upsetting.
I don't know.
Because there's a whole part. The only character development you give the dad is, I work at the mill and I sing in the choir and I guess that makes me religious and then I'm drinking. And
they say he's been 5 years sober, so like any viewer would assume the car accident was 5 years ago, and that's why he gave up drinking. He was drinking and that caused the accident or something.
You could make all these inferences that would make sense.
Which are not true, apparently, because she's been a quadriplegic his entire life, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh.
Like how what? No, it's a lot of things. And like when you say like, well, what would you script doctor to fix this? I'm like, I would take all the actors and then write a new script. Like
you would. There's stuff in here, right? We talk. So like something else.
Keep the makeup guy, the guy that did all your monster production. He was great. I would ignore everything about being flashbacks and bullshit.
Okay.
I would make.
I don't even know which thing to attack first.
I think if you just kept this through line where he meets a girl, that girl is actually his mother trying to get him in on this crazy thing or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but okay, you can keep that because I guess witches are weird and black masses and nudity and whatever.
Yeah.
But when you make it this game, I think was the worst part about it. Like you get called and then they're like made to do these things. Why not just have demons are coming for him to make him do something or other, and the friends are trying to survive and like they're getting killed off, and
it's two different movies. Like one movie is about this mysterious underground thing where you're like, wait, do they just have like a bunch of devoted like Satan cultists who are like making all these things happen, or is there a paranormal aspect? And ends with him like tied to a pentagram and getting like cut or it's this weird thing. Or it's like the real, hey, you were snatched at birth from this whole. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to cram too much in there.
He meets his real dad and then like doesn't go back and talk to him again after he finds out he's his dad. It's like it's such a mess. I can't even talk about.
He finds out his dad is a terrorist from Die Hard 2, and he doesn't do anything about it.
Exactly. I like that guy.
Yeah, no, I like him too.
I was like, oh, it's that guy.
It's something about his little thing like $50 an hour. I should charge more. My mechanic charges $80, and he doesn't even know what a spark plug is. And I was like, I like that guy.
No, and like that's one of the rare instances. Like, okay, so much about this movie, the writing would leave you in you needed to do another pass on the script now that you know what is in your movie. Because I feel like things would happen, and as we've called out multiple times, well, this doesn't make sense with what you said before.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here? Like why does why do you need them to be playing the pathway game to possess them? Does that do something? Why did you show that guy and then you go to his house and he's rich and then you just kill him and then you just leave his house? Was he just to tell you stuff? No one else could have told you that stuff?
Yeah.
This is infuriating. The more I think about this, the more I hate
you
this
did
movie.
become a murderer at one point. Like, you literally threw that guy off a cliff and he died.
And you were like, and then left oh my God, I have to move on. So he's guilty of one murder.
And everyone around you is dying, arbitrarily or through demonic ways or whatever. But especially when it happens off screen, like the uncle's death and stuff. I'm like, well, what was that about? Because he didn't play the game. Did the demon just throw a stick through the window?
Exactly. why?
If
it's
the
back
demon
to-
can do anything, like why is there even anything? And you can't even say, oh, he had to play the game for the demon to find him because the girl found him before he played the game. She came in.
True? She
came
in
in the day before.
Oh, that's so infuriating. Then I didn't even realize that. That's so much worse than I thought it was, and it was already like unforgivable.
No, it's a very bad. Like it's contrived. Like I hate these full of themselves. Like, and that's how I describe this kind of movie where I'm like, the guy that finished was like, oh, my masterpiece. Oh, and then someone went, I don't like it. Like, you don't understand what is my film.
There's a pretentiousness to trying to have those multiple things, right?
Yeah.
And like, if you do that, you have to have a moment where it turns out this was all BS and this is the real thing, right?
Something has to happen.
Like you have to have, right?
Something had to have been a false flag,
Yeah.
and then but everything was real. And I did
everything was real.
I did
my heart.
certain parts of it, but I was like, there wasn't enough here to be an actual movie.
No,
there wasn't enough substance. Like, you had a lot of potential. Like, the building blocks for a movie could have been here, but it really didn't execute well for me, and it felt very much like a chore by the end, especially with the 0 level payoff of the ending. I was like, all right. This was a waste of my hour and a half. I think it was an hour and 32 minutes or an hour and 28 minutes.
You'll never get that time back.
No, you won't.
And I only watched the movie. I wasn't like doing anything else.
No,
so
yeah,
I was like,
same here.
Oh God, why is this happening? So like I liked finding out that other people are playing the game. When you find out like she's playing the game, that could have gone somewhere. I liked even when so like the cutting off his tongue thing was really good. But at some point they flash back to it and
cutting off his own tongue, or when the friend
cutting off his own tongue thing was really good. I was like, oh shit.
Blood came out a little late for me, but I'm not gonna complain.
I mean, just I didn't expect it to all happen all on screen with no cuts or bullshit. It was just happening. He just started cutting his tongue, just kind of the tip, but still, it was good times. His like ginger friend calling up all like strung out and weird and being like, I have 2 girls in my room, I can't get them to leave or whatever.
And it wasn't 2 girls.
I thought something was gonna happen with that, where there was gonna be like succubi there or some weird thing, and then just it turns out to be nothing. But like, I guess my point is that so many things are like hinted at or like set up, and then we just keep going and moving on to like a new thing, and then the movie suddenly just ends.
But even
There's
if you think back to that scene, I got
right?
2 girls in my room, then it cuts into his room, and it's the guy who he doesn't really like very much having sex with some other girl.
Isn't that guy's room? Because the next day, Supernatural knocks on the one door for a while, telling his friend to wake up, and then for whatever reason he knocks on the other door and finds all the dead people.
Oh, I didn't. Maybe I missed it. I thought he knocked on the door and then opened the same door, but I could have blinked.
I think
or
it was
something.
the one across the hall, and I think that was the thing. Is like that's that guy that he fights with, but then it turns out that they're buddies or so.
Yeah, they would fight and they would smoke, but apparently he was going to end them one day with a gun.
With a gun,
but then he would have smoked out of the barrel.
And but there would be smoke, gun smoke.
No, this is a brutal movie. I would not recommend this as as something you'd want to watch as a joy, and I don't even think it applies in a group sense as a joke. Like it's just a waste of time type of movie. If you were like a diehard fan of any of these people and you're like, I must watch everything they've done, I'd be like, all right, go in with a lot of popcorn because you need something to do.
No, this is literally like just skip this. This might be with the. Maybe bad editing doesn't bother everyone as much as everyone else, but just it became like difficult to watch this movie for me.
Editing aside, because the egregious thing for me was the plot. And it's funny because if you can have like, oh no, this was the worst thing. No, this was the. If you're arguing over what is the worst part, and the parts you're arguing over are huge parts of a movie, you're not in for a good time. Like,
I think
simply put.
Because the bad plot, all like the plot was like right here below the editing for me. Because editing takes me out of it visually, and then I'm like not looking at the screen. I'm like, what is happening in my life? Oh no, it's like hurting me to like I can't like engage with it properly because it can't like you're not sucking me in. It's not happening or whatever. So all you have then is like the plot and the characters to try to get you through. And then when you search there and you're just like, what? There's zombies now? Who drove him to the thing? Was it the zombie? Is he a ghost? Did he drive himself there? Is that his car? He leaves in a car. Was that his car? So was he just like possessed by his ginger dead friend to drive himself to the place and he punched him, but not really? Is that just what possession is? Didn't they just win? Isn't the movie over? How much time is left? What's happening? Like things like that.
And when you have the
Drive me
star
sa-
power
crazy.
this movie has, the idea that I've never heard of it, I'm like a movie person. I have thousands of movies.
I think this might have been buried. Was going to be my like end
It's
result.
certainly possible.
Was the dude was like, you know what? I do TV, but like TV's not shameful anymore these days. I did a few movies before I got the Supernatural gig. Bury him. I'm never going to talk about him. Don't mention it. Right?
I had never seen, because you'd think that like the company that owns this would have hyped it like crazily because they have these stars.
Yeah, every time Supernatural gets renewed, this should be trending on Netflix. If it was any good, right?
Yeah.
that should be the whole thing that happens.
Yeah, but it's
no.
horrible garbage.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much all there is to say with this. Like, what would you give this out of 10?
that's what I was struggling with. I think this is getting down into that 2 or 3 territory.
I was thinking 2.8 was my
Wow.
number. And that is, and it only,
How do
I
we
should
keep
say, it
agreeing on
only
so much
gets
stuff?
a 2.8. I would say like the 0.8 is just because like I'm like, well, I like some of the people in it. Like it got 1 star because I'm like, well, the effects were good, just not used properly.
Yeah,
Like most movies just start out with a 1 if they're an actual movie. I'm like, well, the sound was fine, the visuals were fine.
Yes.
So like 2.8.
No,
that's
like
my,
and honestly, like if you watched it, if you just saw little snippets without the sound or something, you'd be like, yeah, that's a movie. Like it doesn't seem like it's not. I would only give something like a 1 or a 2 if it was like not a movie.
I did picture it being 4:3. When I first started and it was widescreen, I was like, oh, a treat. And then I was so wrong.
Oh, a treat. Yeah, no, I would totally agree. So, like, my 2 or 3 averages out to, like, 2.5, I guess. But I want to clarify, like, it doesn't come by that, instantly. It, like, has points. It's in, like, the 4 or 5 territory for, like, being a movie. But then, it loses so many points for having this, like, incomprehensible screenplay and just this sloppy TV-level production on, like, the back end or whatever.
Yeah, it feels like a movie that would be that would look much worse than it does.
That's what I'm
saying. The idea that it has these stars and this production quality is actually shocking based on what the script is. That enough people signed, they just must have had money and they could just be like, "Here, I want to do this."
Well, but that's
like
what's
passion project or something.
That's what's so weird to me. Like, I'm dying here. I didn't look up like the story of this production and like maybe something happened or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happened because I feel like when this was being shot, there's all this stuff. There's lighting, there's angles, there's like setups. The camera's like moving and it's like well done.
Yeah.
But then like the cutting and just the overall composition of the movie is such a mess. It's weird. It like throws me for like a loop because usually if some of those things are this bad, they're all this bad, and it's very easy to just say kick this into the garbage, forget about it. This was a unique viewing experience that I hope no one else ever has to have.
Yeah, so final thoughts. This is obviously a thumbs down for both of us. If you've seen this, which I doubt many of you have, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it.
Do you love it? Is it your favorite?
Yeah. All right, guys, so until next time, don't die in a fire, and we will see you then.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.